Hi, my name is Derek Weininger. I'm going to be showing you my build, I guess, for Team Phantoms. So first of all, the build that we're going to be using is right here, IATA Team Phantom Sprint 1, shown here to downloaded and then uh, extracted. So let me launch that real quick. Um, so I have the 10 builds right here that I got approved. And I will be going over the menu stuff first, optimizing the menus. I got 3 tasks in the menus. That was to add transitions, add sounds, and I'll be demonstrating that first. Okay, so here's the menu. Uh, so you can hear when I click buttons on the main menu, it does a little frog sound, uh, and stuff, which is kind of what we wanted. And then the transition, so the next one, let me actually go to the actual things. So add sounds to menus. Um, so I was gonna have it on every single, like you start overlapping and you click it and there's going to be sounds on everything, but that was really a lot of noise pollution, kind of ruined the like serene music in the background, and so we just stuck with the frogs, which is what we wanted. And I think it's nice. So that's that one. Assign sounds to appropriate SFX category. I can demonstrate that here. Again, the uh, you see the music doesn't change color, but if you can barely hear it, the frog changes with the effect. So all the new sounds we added got got put into the correct SFX category. Can't really show you because that's kind of like in the array, but I can demonstrate it with that. And I showed that the volume sliders work as well. Next is add main menu widget for player to view earned medals. So I did add this widget in. We haven't implemented the achievements yet. So right now I just have the the code set up, the display set up, and then I checked a couple booleans just to pretend that they're active to show you what it would look like if you achieved the or if you gain the achievement. So you can see I should have done this one. Start a new game is blacked out, meaning you haven't earned the achievement yet. But once you do earn the achievement and we set up the achievement actually in the game, it'll change the boolean to display this icon. And the boolean is again another function of the save game, which is just achievements. This one is technically earned. This one's technically earned. Technically earned. These are not, right? And each of them have their own made up achievement that I was just trying to be creative. Uh, so that's the achievement menu working. And it hit all the, medals are visible. Earned medals appear fully visible. Locked medals are dimmed or locked. I just blacked them out. Uh, Displays the correct name, icon, and description. That works. And they're all correct scale. And they make sense within the main menu. And so those were my two of the tasks in here. I didn't get to this one. I actually didn't. We didn't implement any of the achievements. So for this one, for the refined victory screens to show results, uh, I couldn't implement it because the achievements weren't locked in, and neither was the time trial. So this wasn't able to be implemented yet. So this was one I had not done. And that's all optimized menus. Next is the transitions to the menus, which I guess would kind of be optimization too. But that happens at when you select new game. Again, we were going to have transitions for all button presses, but it just took time, too much time, unnecessarily. And I like the snappier uh, menu navigation. And then the transitions come when you hit new game. The menu fades away and starts in the new game. And that happens with continue. That happens with all of it. Okay, we got our little frog that doesn't work right now. Uh, but yeah, I'm going to show you that from the other one too. Continue. We'll do it as well. Fade out. Okay. And then So that's the transitions to the menus. Implement new assets made by the art team. That's right here, perfect. An example, I can't show you the entire map because that would take more than 10 minutes, but the lily pads got replaced, all the trees in the backgrounds got replaced with the artist assets. Let me show a couple more. You see the mushrooms are implemented, the bush right there. All new assets made by the art team, all implemented, all looking really good. Because they've been super awesome working with. So let me just show you a couple more later on. I'm gonna get this cutscene going so that I can not waste too much time. You see more mushrooms added, just increasing the atmosphere of like the cave location. Here's the bridges and the pillars being added. I wonder if they... Yep. So here's the new tutorial area. Again, all the new artist assets. Haven't gotten the textures yet, but you know, they still look really good. And there's the cutscene. While the cutscene's going on, I'm going to keep going. So I'm going to show you more assets, but for now, right, it was just really the implement modular assets, including walls, floor, pillars, lantern. The walls we haven't gotten yet because the walls are just going to be textures. But I got the frog is in there, the lanterns in there, the fireflies are in there, the rope vines and saw blades, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, there's a rope vine right there. That's the rope vine. It works with the traversal as well, so it works just as intended with that sound effect. And then into the broken bridge. And this is the new cutscene thing that's added, which is cool. There's the saw blade right there. So those are all the listed ones so far. Pause it and go. Again, boom. So all of that. I would show you the female frog and the treehouse, but I would have to beat the game, and that would take more than 10 minutes. But those are also implemented. And then fixed saw blade movement. So again, the saw blade movement had issues where the saw blade on the spleen wasn't rotating individually. It was moving along the spleen, but the saw blade wasn't able to rotate. That was fixed. That was actually a lot easier. I took like a week to do it, or try to fix it, and then one of my teammates came in and just told me to remove the child blueprint for the spleen and then just put the saw blade blueprint in the spleen blueprint, giving them separate rotating parameters, I guess, and it worked. It was super simple, and I cried. But that's the saw blade fixed, saw blade, and the asset replaced as well. And then let me pause it. My next one was to refine the broken bridge. So again, we added this power up here because people were having some issues with this jump. We put these arrows here and these lighting effects, but people were having issues with that jump, so that power up is just to help clear the jump more. And then everything else was nice. The bridge got shortened. This is still here. I know some people have a hard time finding it, but I just wanted to add that as an introductory, because you can see the firefly below you, and it should be an easy guide to, like, of course, a guide to how to get there. But yeah, this whole level was refined. Gosh, not refined by me. I'm just kidding. Let me show real quick. This bridge was also increased in length. And tutorial signs were placed, and these assets were also dropped in just to give more atmosphere to this level, as if you're entering this more like cavernous area. And that's all my things. Yeah. So I showed all these. I showed the refining of the level. I was only able to do 9 tasks out of 10. But yeah. Thank you very much.
Hey, my name is Elijah Lewis. I'm on Team Phantoms, and this is my video demonstration. Starting off, we have, first, let me go to the builds. This is the zipped, unzipped, sprint 1. I'm going to load that up. While that's loading, we'll go over here to go over here and add ability to skip cutscenes. I will implement a skip functionality for in-game cutscenes using input prompt, giving the player control over pacing, especially during replays or during multiple deaths. That's the first one. We're gonna go up here, play. Okay. So we're just gonna go past all this. Whatever. We have our first cutscene right here. Skip. That one doesn't respawn. And then we have our other cutscene here. Skip. We're gonna go over to the add tutorialization throughout level. There are some areas that need a bit more explanation on what needs to be done. However, it is whether it's hitting the player on a new way using mechanics or tipping them off on a challenging area that is coming up soon. Authorization and place and they're side by side, so I'm just gonna do both. Refine BP underscore pickup. I will improve the visual presentation and in-world behavior of the dash pickup blueprint. The goal is to make the pickup feel less static, more visual interesting, and better size to match player expectations during gameplay. We got both of these. Side by side. Oh, we're gonna skip that. Okay. We have left click here. And the subtask. So oh yeah, here it is. Subtask for add dash indicator to HUD, update sound for dash pickup, resize the dash pickup mesh, and add idle float movement and slow rotation. Size is a little still bigger than I thought. Update cutscene. The only thing we're missing with the cutscene is the indicator that pops up. The visual UI prompt. That's what I'm missing for that. And tutorialization as well. And that should be it.
Hello, Maiden Males, and today I'll be going over the tasks that I've completed for Sprint 1, and the build I'll be using is in the builds folder on Perforce, and the build is under IATA Team Phantom Sprint 1, and I already have it exported here, just so I don't have to show the whole export process and everything. And just to show that's opening up, and while it's opening up, we're going to jump over here, and I'm going to quickly go over the thing I didn't get to do because it's one of the first things I can show off, which is to make the wall jumps more balanced. And the idea behind this would be that a a lot of players found out that you can kind of scale walls by just wall jumping repeatedly instead of using the wall climb, which you can still use the wall climb, but a lot more people seem to gravitate more towards the wall jump, so we kind of wanted to get to that a little bit. But however, the only thing I was able to get to is adding a bit more of a pause when the player is up against the wall, which I will show off very quickly. And before, the fall was a lot quicker than it is now, so now the players have a bit more time to react to the wall jump. But not only were we not able to find enough playtesters at the time, a lot of our time was taken up doing a lot of the other tasks, along with like some personal things that got in the way. So I mean, at the end of the day, the wall jump works the way it's fine the way it is now, and we're not too distraught over not really getting to that. The next thing I'll be able to show off is adding fade text to tell the player which section of the game they're in, which is not in this tutorial section currently, but I will show that right now, right when I get to the appropriate section for it. Alright, so just on the other side of this bridge, we'll come across a closure box. So right there in the bottom right, you see the text come up, broken bridge. So now the player knows that they're in the broken bridge part of the game. There's a little segment I didn't mean to show. But real quick, we'll go over to something that's going to be playing throughout the rest of the gameplay, which will be having more ambient sounds playing in the background. Hopefully, if I catch them, I'll point them out, but if not, they should show up at some point. And then the next thing I'll get to is switch platforms. A lot of it's just updating the visuals beforehand. It was kind of hard to tell where the platforms ended and stopped. And also got a suggestion for a playtest beforehand to update the actual buttons themselves. So that's what I'll be showing off when I get to that section. Okay, so here we got the switch platforms. As you see, they're very visible, and you can also see the button changing colors depending on which one is on and which one's off. And then the next thing would be refining the abandoned rooms level, which is the segment that we're in right now. And the specific changes we have down here, room 5, which is this very top green one up here. Add a bit more of a challenge on the right side, so it's not just a simple climb. Room 7, which is this middle green room on the bottom. Remove the trick door to clear frustration with the maze. Room 9 is this long rectangular orange one. Introduce the dash orb, and now it's more focused around the dash orb and before when it wasn't. And room 10 was specifically mentioning this top half of this big orange square on the end. And it's just like kind of making these last few challenges a bit easier for the player, because we have gotten complaints before that it is a bit more difficult. Oh, we got a sound right there. We got some rocks falling down as I'm just about to get into this next segment. So the challenge that I added is the very right with that saw. Before there was a switch platform there too, but it kind of obscured the vision, so I just thought it would be a bit better just to have a saw there. So it's not just a simple climb with the wall. This is room 7, where it mentioned that I removed the door on the left side. You see that little room right there with 3 doors. There used to be 4, but one of them was a trick door to send you back to the beginning of this room, so I didn't really see any purpose for it, so I got rid of it. Here's room 9, which shows a bit more of the dash orb, because before it was really only used once, so I thought adding it to my level would be a pretty good idea. Okay, so here is the room 10 I mentioned earlier. A lot of these reaction challenges have like half of them have bubbles to kind of give more reaction time, which weren't there before. And just in general, they're a lot easier now. And as we go into cave swing, as you can see, the bottom right corner again, I mentioned before. Down here, refined cave swing level, and this is specifically mentioning the very end of the level, because that's the only part of the cave swing level that I actually developed. The rest of it was made by Lane, but he asked if I wanted to add a bit of a challenge at the end, and I was like, yeah, well, why not? And this is a lot of this is just like balancing that out. We're at my part that I made, and the biggest I just jumped over. The biggest part that I messed with was this wall jump challenge. Oops. It was way longer and a bit harder, so I don't know what is happening with me now. So I made it a bit easier. Also, this bubble tower here used to be like very low, or like very high, sorry, and it was hard to get to, and also the saw was off screen, so it's kind of hard to tell. But now I added a bit more of elevation along with making the bubbles a bit more easily accessible, and that dash challenge is also there. It was also newly added, sorry. And before it was a challenge where you had to press the switch platform button to switch on the switch platform and climb up the wall, but that was a bit difficult. And here, the only change I added at this part was this little light at the end to kind of signify that you're at the end of the level. And that's all that I've done.
Hello, my name is Lane Ruff, and today I am showcasing the work submitted and completed within this current sprint. As you can see, the build is located within our builds folder underneath the file IATA_TeamPhantoms_sprint1. And there we are. We got launched up here. Very good. All right, starting from the top of our tasks list, first task was to refine camera in all areas so player and intended path can be seen at all points. Throughout this task in particular, I found that there were issues according with resolution and everything like that, but I was able to find adequate solutions when it came to refining these tasks in particular. So I've got a couple areas I can show right up here. First notable area was within the tutorial itself. This room in particular, I actually pulled the follow camera to move just a little further this way so we can see the player enter into the cave here. Very good. As we get in here, I've also moved the camera backwards a little bit so that we can see that this is one way in and a one-way exit. We cannot go any further than this. There we are. And another really good example that I will showcase here is going to be within the next level. And I also spent some time refining the camera here as well, as I did notice that the player was just barely off screen whenever entering into this area. Alright, here's an example of one place I did it. I decided I wanted to focus in on the player in this one specific section as they began to traverse. There we are. As they get closer over here, you can definitely see the zoom in, so we can see the wall and everything like that. This level was adjusted here as a means to. There we are. This level here was adjusted to use follow camera, and this is very reminiscent of many of the edits that I did within this. Any level that is a little too large, maybe that the player is a little too small, we really didn't need to showcase scale. I made sure to go through and edit the camera with that. In that same note, we'll go ahead and move down to the next task. Remedy existing bugs within the rope swing mechanic. For this in particular, the biggest bug that needed to be fixed was a very stark clamp issue. So within the clamp issue here, as we see, I've got the rope swinging right here. The player was able to move up past the limits. Now, when the player tries to climb up past the rope or even further than the rope's limit, they will be stopped at either point. There. Very good. Rarely when dismounting while swinging, rope will continue. Rope will continue input in the direction of dismounting. I was able to catch this here. I found that. Oh, excuse me. I found that very rarely, whenever dismounting, I had to put another check in within the code itself to make sure that the player is indeed no longer attached to the rope, and that whenever we jump off the rope, we want to do a true reset. So now, if I were to jump off the rope, we don't run into that bug at all. Alright, so for the task I'm showcasing now, it's going to be our implement level select and save game systems. So pretty much every single time we enter into a room there, as you can see here, I've entered into a room, back and forth, you're grabbing a couple key points of data, such as what room they're in, how many deaths they have, how many fireflies collected, which fireflies they have collected, which doors are open. So essentially what happens every time you enter into a room, it's going to go ahead and grab that and save the data. So say I go right onto the main menu here, and we're going to hit play and continue. It should bring us right back there. I've got 2 fireflies as before, 2 deaths as before. We go back over here and you see the firefly I collected is no longer there. And then as for the level select, let's run back out to the main menu here. I'm going to hit play, level select, main levels. We'll jump right into the tutorial here. There we are. We start right at the beginning of the tutorial. And all we need to do, and essentially what happens there is the game is cleared, and we can continue on from this point. This cutscene plays, I'll go ahead and showcase our next task. Our next task is create Firefly Guide for further tutorialization. And as we see here, as soon as we get into this level, we are immediately accompanied by what looks to be a little Firefly Guide. As we move along, it doesn't seem like too much for now, and as we move along, when we come across a specific trigger, we find that the Firefly does talk to us. His name is Gerald the Fly, and he's just going to let us know that he's going to give us information about the ins and outs of this game. For here, what we have done is we're using Gerald the Fly to kind of start to let us know about our pickups here. So as you see, I did the dash pickup, and now Gerald has a particle effect around him until I use the dash. Gerald's main purposes, aside from guiding the player through the game, is to act as an indicator to any power-ups that the player may have. As for our next task, update rope attachment and swinging sounds. Let me go ahead and move through here real quick. As you see, when we jump onto the rope and swing, we begin to play a nice little swinging sound. Alright, very good. Next task is going to be at the beginning of our next level here, or next section, excuse me. So our next task is fix boulder falling timeline. Before, as you can see directly above the player here, there is a pretty inconspicuous rock that sits just above the player. The player progresses through. We hear a little sound effect play. If we were to go back, we see that the boulder has fallen. Now before, what was happening, due to the logic that had previously, the boulder was falling at random intervals, either falling too short of where its destination needed to be, or falling below the level entirely. So this fix was added so we can make sure that the player is at least gated and cannot return to the previous section. The next task I have here is going to be create different door types, which is going to be located right in here. Is the best example of it. There we are. So right over here, I've got this door that the player can come up and interact with if they so choose. If they do so, a prompt will pop up saying the door would not budge. Now what the player is going to have to do is go all the way around and progress the level in order to unlock this door. We'll just move right here. There we are. And that was the showcase of the one-way door. As for our timed trial, unfortunately we were unable to complete it due to given time. So where things have been kind of set up for it, we wanted to create a new fresh experience for the player that utilizes the base map here, as you can see. Given the time and the amount of work we had to put into features such as like the save game and as level selects, there was not enough time for us to implement. And that is all my tasks there. Thank you very much.